Hello everyone, my name is B or Onyx Nova Cosplay, and today we are going to be making a tiny little witch's cabin. So I made this little terrarium, like, I don't even know how long ago, because a whole bunch of people were making them on Pinterest, and I was like, oh, I can do that. And then I was like, whoop, so I was like, let's try again. A lot of this entire base is cardboard, first and foremost, except, as you can see off to the right, for that wooden frame. I got that wooden frame and another one from the Dollar Tree because it was $1. And I was like, why would I not get it? It's $1, which is a bad mentality to have. Also, I know this base is off-center. Like, it was hard to tell while making the project, but looking back, I can thoroughly tell. Okay, I know it's bad. Don't leave your comments. I'm sad. I'm sorry. But it's a nice base overall. So next thing what we're gonna do is take this little piece of, we're gonna take a piece of this cardboard, several pieces actually, because we're gonna use this cardboard from the old trash bag box to cover up all the corrugation in this cardboard that I got going on. How many times can I say cardboard? Cardboard. And cover up those gaps, just because they're a little unsightly, a little unseemly, and I'm not a huge fan of them. I wish I glued these down a little bit better, but c'est la vie. Also, apologies, there will be parts of this video where things are just, quite frankly, not fully in frame, and I thought they were, and I apologize. Next up, we have these cute little things from Michaels. Oh my goodness gracious, I would sell my soul to Michaels in a heartbeat. I love Michaels. And that's not a joke. Like, I'm not sponsored. I just love Michaels. I bought a whole bunch of these things while, drunk. I got drunk at an Applebee's and then went to Michaels with my roommates at the time. It was great. I spent, like, way too much money. Definitely over $150 on stuff from Michaels. Because it was, like, after Halloween, so stuff was on sale. I have a problem. But I'm taking more of this cardboard to make the ground. And you're probably wondering now, B, why is there that little gap? That little gap is there because I'm like, ooh, she can have a nice little front lawn. I'm living vicariously through her. I want a moss lawn. I will give her a moss lawn. Moss lawns all around. I also took a piece of cardboard that I cut off earlier to make what I originally thought might be a bookcase, but actually it's going to be like some weird part of her wall. Metal, stone, who knows really. Also, I have not glued down that cauldron. I'm more just putting it there to see what I want as I put these shelves on the wall. Just because I was like trying to figure out where things go. And now I'm measuring out what will be the roof. Because I was like, I don't want to cover the entire thing, but I do want her to have like some semblance of a roof, of a facade of a roof. Words are hard. And so I was like, yeah, I'll put that in. I put the shelves in. I kind of wish I had glued the shelves separately and then glued them on, but, you live and you learn. I'm also going ahead and cutting off the handles of this cauldron, as well as the excess stuff from when it prints that, like, kind of pokes out that isn't cool looking. And then I'm going to paint some flames on it, because there's already flames in it, so let's make those flames, like, super flamey, yeah? And so I'm going to just, don't be me. Let your paints dry in between your projects, okay? Like, or in between steps of your projects. I am so bad when it comes to, like, wanting to get a project done so quickly that I just keep adding paint to it and just be like, I'm sure it'll dry fine. Let's hope for the best. It's not gonna work out for you, man. I'm also whittling down these little wooden dowels and painting them brown with what paint I had left over. And you will be like, what are those for, B? They're gonna be for part of the door frame, but we won't get into that much later. I don't even think I filmed it, so I'll just point it out when I see it again, unless I'm distracted. Keep a lookout for that door frame. So we're back to painting the flames. Like I said, had to do several coats. And so while I was doing that, I painted other things. Like, for instance, this is the faux roof. And, this tag. Okay, so I've had this tag for, like, several years. I think I bought it when I bought the frames at the dollar store. So it's only been at, like, 2 or 3 years at this point. I thought I was going to use it for this project. I thought I was going to use it for the dice tower that I showed you, or the dice jail in the last video. No, none of it. I need a use for it. If you can comment down a use for this tag, the little wooden tag I have, please do. I am so sick of it. I'm tired of it. I want it gone. But now I'm going to go in, paint these shelves as well as the wall. You can tell by my great camera angles. And the little not book frame, bookshelf, because I'll get back to it. And I paint too much of this orange. I don't know why orange was the color for this project, but orange was the color for this project. Not by choice. It just kind of happened. Speaking of orange, wow, B, that's a choice for the floor. Yeah, I know. We'll get back to it. Like I said, we'll get back to it. I didn't want to waste any paint, so you'll see me like pick up random things and paint them just so I'm not wasting any paint. I do actually like that I repainted the part that will be the ceiling. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm not a super big fan of repainting this. I kind of wish I had flopped the paints on this, so instead of painting the column and the walls gray and keeping the floor orange, I wish I had painted the floor gray and kept the walls orange. I think that would have been cuter, but you live and you learn. If I ever remake this one day, then I'll do that. I also had to really struggle to get into the little crevices of the little bookshelf wall thing. It's not a bookshelf, but I thought of it so long as a bookshelf throughout this project that it's hard to not think of it as anything else. I also went back and added some green in there, as well as some green to the floor. I was trying to add some green because I was like, oh, maybe it'll like look like oxidization or something. It just looks like green. So we'll get back to the column in a minute. But right now we're going to take some blues and paint a nice little sky gradient all the way around the inside of the not house portion of the Switch's house. Just so she can have a little yard to vibe in, you know what I mean? Good vibes all around. I embraced my inner Bob Ross for this entire project. I embraced my inner Bob Ross and just said the happy little accidents are what's going to happen. Because that's all we have, quite frankly, are happy little accidents in this entire project. So this is going to be the little piece of the roof, and I need to just digress. I was neck deep into some Studson Studio. I had just discovered his channel, and I was like, I want to do what he does. And so I was like, I can do it. And one of the things he does is take a lot of... Oh, my glue didn't work. Oh, it's fine. Okay. Well, he takes a lot of little studs or little gems and like uses them as other things in projects. And I was like, I can do that. I have all these beads I never use. And boy, howdy, do I still have a lot of beads. So if you have any ideas for these beads, let me know. But I made a cute little roof out of it. And I kind of like it. It's off-center. It's a little quirky. I kind of lost my patience, but it's cute. Back to this cauldron. So as you can see, I kind of went ham on the paint. And I'm like, ugh. So I'm going to have to paint back over it. Oh, so much better. And I will repaint this a couple of times because I am impatient and get paint on things and then I have to go back and paint over them and back and forth. I just need to learn some patience, quite frankly. I think I would benefit from that on a spiritual level. Speaking of lacking patience, oh boy, these poor little bushes. I put them through the ringer. These are also from Michaels. They have a lot of stuff for dioramas. And I was like, I'm not a huge fan of this color. So essentially what I do is paint yellow on them and then a light green and then a brown. I didn't realize how absorbent these were. So they really just like, once you put too much paint down, it's just there forever. And honestly, I feel like the end project, or the end result is kind of what we started with. But, you know, I may have wasted a little bit of time, but, you know, that's crafting for you. Next time I'll get a little more creative with how I paint these things. There was a quick little before, during, and after. If you want to go back and pause, by the way. I went back, added some green. I thought that was going to be it, was just me adding the green. And then I realized, I was like, I still don't like it, so I'm going to add a little bit more brown. I'm just really glad this project didn't get washed out by how many, like, dark neutral colors I used, because I feel like that could have easily happened. So I'm glad it worked out in the end. Also, you can tell I'm a speed painter because my hands are covered in paint throughout most of this project. Now we're going to take this folk art metallic paint, which these metallic paints, as well as a neon paint I'm going to use later, do not work well by themselves. Like, they just do not work well. You have to put some sort of base coat down for them to look nice. Although that being said, I do think it looks pretty cool at the end. I do kind of leave some gaps here and there on accident. And then, of course, like I said, I am going to have to go back and repaint this because, spoiler alert, I will get paint on it from a different part of this project and have to go back and cover it. Not the flames, but the actual cauldron itself. I will have to repaint a couple of times after this. But it's fine. I'm also painting the bottom, not because I think you're going to see it, but I just was like, just in case you can kind of peek at it or something from the side, I didn't want it to be a risk. So I just was like, screw it, we'll cover the entire base, it'll be fine. We're going to set that off to the side to dry. And while we do that, it's time to glue the bushes down on the ground to make some nice mossy grass. As you can see also, the roof is not in all the way. You'll actually see it a little bit better. I think I end up having to cut off part of the end. I think when I measured it, it was able to fit because it was more bendy due to it just being cardboard. But once I added the beads, it was a little too sturdy and it didn't have as much bend, and so I couldn't just kind of shimmy it in like I had before. Speaking of shimmying it in, I'm really going to just shove these bushes in there. Into the ground. And it's hard to see, but there are some gaps, so I'm going to have to take one of these and cut it up into some pieces. And to my surprise, wow, it's that gross foam stuff they use in like packing peanuts. But I take some of the foam and just shove it into the corners so that the foamy bits are hidden and the grass bits are still standing upright. And then I'm going to take my favorite little thing, which is fake foliage, which we'll get to in a second. I think it's called reindeer grass or something. It has a weird smell to it. That's all I know. But, you know, guess what? I also got it at Michael's. And I'm not going to lie. I kind of used this, like, reindeer grass, like most artists use glitter. I have used it on this project. I used it on my makeup stand. I used it on a mirror I revamped. Like, I use it on... I think I used it on the dice jail, actually. I used all of it. I bought like 4 packs, and they're all gone, and I'm sad. Can't wait to go hit up a Michael's soon. And I promise I'm not sponsored. I just really like Michael's. And I know that, like, it's not always the best to buy from big stores, because, you know, corporate America. But, like, I'm weak for craft and supplies, okay? I'm weak for them. But I digress. And so I shoved some more grass in there. Using my handy dandy little paintbrush because it helps me when I don't want to be patient. I use it a lot in this project. Not for painting, just for holding down things that have hot glue on the back of them. Speaking of hot glue, though, I'm also going to glue some of this onto our little metal shelf thing we got going on, as well as the roof in a second. English is hard, guys. I'm recording this at midnight. I'm tired. I've also recorded this. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I've recorded this voiceover like 3 times because I'm trying to figure out my new system, and it's my new editing system, and it's been a struggle, but we're getting there. So you see, it looks really nice on like a mossy ground now. I'm like obsessed. But I haven't added it to the roof yet. That is going to be coming up next. But look how cute it is. I think it's quite quaint. Oh, wait, before the roof, I'm going to add some dead branches. Yes, I wanted to add some of these to make it seem like she doesn't necessarily, keep up with the yard. She just kind of lets nature do what nature wants to do, because she just vibes with it, you know? Those nice witchy vibes. What are your vibes? Do you have like a genre of vibes you fit into? Because looking around my house, it is somewhere between witchy vibes and that I robbed a Spirit Halloween. I did not rob it. Spirit Halloween also owns my heart and all my money. I spent $200 at Spirit Halloween last Halloween. I'm not proud of it, but I'm proud of the stuff I got from it, so can't wait to go back there come November 1st. Oh my god, I'm going to do a shopping spree November 1st of Michael's and Spirit Halloween. It's going to be sick. But anyway, back to the crafting. I'm cutting out what looks like to you probably a bearskin rug, but I'm going to make it a cow rug. I don't know why I was like, yeah, cow rug. Like, I'm making a witch in an indeterminate time, and it could have been as magical as I wanted. It could have been like a dragon skin rug, but I was like, nah, cow, she-ha. So here we are with the cow rug. But this also felt, so I had to kind of really just glob on the paint for it to even work. Also, if you've never made anything crafty, but you've always thought about it, let this be your little, like, do the thing moment. You can do it. I believe in you. You probably don't believe in yourself if you've never done it before. But I say just go for it. I'll be real. I've never done anything like this before, really. I'm just kind of winging it. Both the YouTube channel and the crafting. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're going to go back to my cauldron. Because I wanted to add some drippy bits to have something like oozing out of the cauldron. I thought it'd be super cool. But also, let's take a moment and realize that B did not wash their hands before they continued this project, so there will be paint on this cauldron that's not supposed to be there. But while that hot glue dries, we're going to keep our hot glue gun going and glue down the bear skin, cow skin, not dragon skin rug. Also, if you look up to the top there in the center, you can see a skull. That is part of the... Oh, it's gone. But it's part of the wall I was telling y'all about that I was making with those little sticks. We'll get back to it, though. So now that the glue has dried and it looks kind of nice inside the cabin, there's the wall. Look how cute it is with our little poles on the side. It's a nice little touch. But now that the hot glue is dried, it's time to paint this slime sludge. Tell me what she's put in this cauldron. Tell me what it is. Not yet. I'm not done painting it. We remember the metallic red that I used in the flames earlier? I have the same brand of folk art paint that is in a neon green, and I will be using that. But those colors that are not just like the matte colors do not take well to anything. So you always have to do some sort of base coat. I'm doing white for the green because I feel like it'll help it shine more. I feel like if I had like done it black, it might have been easier. If I were to go back in time for this, I would have done the hot glue drippies first, painted the entire cauldron black with the hot glue drippies on it, then gone back and painted first the drippies and then the flames. And done little touch-ups here and there. Because I ended up having to touch up this cauldron like 4 or 5 times. And I was not a big fan of that. But, you know, I did what I had to do to make it work. Quite frankly. Also, this is another one of those moments where I'm like, don't glob on the paint. Do as I say, not as I do. Because, I mean, it looked fine in the end. It kind of worked, honestly, because it was like some weird slime that was coming out. So it's like, it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. But if you want it to be perfectly smooth, you should not do what I do. You should let it dry. But yeah, so here's that glow. Oh, it's glow in the dark. That's part of the reason it's so thin. It doesn't super glow in the dark, I'll be honest. I don't know if it's just because I didn't like cure it right or something, but it's not like the most glow in the darky paint. It does look pretty cool though once it's all said and done. Now this paint, I had no choice but to let like a coat dry and come back and a coat dry and come back because it is just so thin. It's like watered down paint almost. It is extremely thin paint. Although, if I remember correctly, it does dry kind of quickly, so that at least there's that. It's not like a total pain to work with. It's just like it's not the most convenient. Oh, I didn't wait. You know what I did? I just slapped it on because that's what I did. I want to get better when it comes to just all my artistic endeavors because I want to be able to like present something that it looks clean 100%. And I know that every craft project has small mistakes or hidden things that like only the artist knows about. But I want to get to the point where people are like, wow, I can't even tell that there were any mistakes with this. Oh, yeah, side note, I'm just putting weathering on the floor because I feel like she probably comes in and out a lot. She's going to have some wear and tear to this place. But yeah, I want to get better at just painting neater, using hot glue neater. Like you can see throughout this entire project that my paint was not the neatest. My hot glue was kind of everywhere. But I still really enjoyed making this. So if I ever remake this one day, I'll just make it neater. But yeah, so there's the cauldron. There's the floor. I added a little more paint to the floor. Oh, and there's the wall thing I was telling you about. There are the 2 sticks, and they were too short, so I had to put a skull on the bottom. But they made a nice frame for the doorway. Now onto my little collectibles from Michaels. I love them. Literally, I think all of that came from Michaels. I'm not even kidding. Except maybe those butterflies. I think they came in a gym pack from Walmart. But I digress. So we're going to slap down that cauldron and then start putting things on the walls. I put 2 pieces of art on the wall by the cauldron because I was like, these aren't my favorite. And I figure, like, if anyone's looking at it, they can, like, really peek around and be like, oh, there's even art on this wall. Like, it feels more like a complete image. I had to glue down some more pumpkins. I saw that I had a small, medium, and large, and I was like, we gotta stack them. Just because that's how my brain works. And then, of course, more skulls, more bones. I'm just dry brushing the bones with some brown paint. And I'm sure you know what dry brushing is, but if you don't, it is just like taking paint, rubbing it on the thing with a dried brush, essentially. So you like put paint on the brush and then like wipe it off until there's barely any left, and then paint that onto the thing. Time to cut some bones in half and shove them in the yard. Like I said, upkeep is not her thing. And I like to think that she probably has some mythical beast that like hangs out, like a giant spiritual cat or something, spectral cat, who protects her house. But yeah, we also have this large piece of fabric. It will be used for a couple of parts of this project, but the first thing is I'm going to use it as her doorway. So I don't think she believes in doors necessarily. I think she's one with nature, and she just kind of has a roof over her head for when nature gets a little intense. But like door frames and keeping people and animals out is not really her thing. Plus, I feel like she's strong enough that she could probably handle it all on her own. I keep referring to this witch, but I don't actually have a name for her. I also haven't made her, so let me know if you'd like to see me, if you would like to see me make her for a future project, because I think it might be nice to add a cute little witch to this place. But yeah, I just slathered paint on. It was like a tulle material, so I kind of just like put a lot of paint on it, and it just absorbed that right on up. And then while it was drying, I was like, okay, let's do some wood burning. Note to y'all, please wear a proper mask. Please use proper ventilation. I didn't have my cat at the time, so I was less worried about it. But I had like a window open and like the bathroom fan running and like the COVID nurse mask on under my like cloth mask. But like, be better than me. Wear a proper mask. Do it outside. Like, be safe, because no craft, no cosplay, no nothing is worth getting like permanent damage to your body. But yeah, also, I don't remember what these runes say. I'm gonna be so real. I remember I was like gonna write them down and like put them somewhere in the project, like either behind like where I eventually will put a window or like on the bottom, and I just didn't. I need to look them up again one day. But yeah, so there are the runes. I also wish I had done the next bit differently. So I'm going to put this fence down and then do a wash of paint on the wooden frame. I wish I'd done the wash first and then put the fence down. At the end, you can't really tell. The fence is kind of so close together that you can't really see through it anyway, and like the paint kind of dripped onto the hot glue that's back there. But like this hot glue did not want to like work well with the paint, so it's kind of underneath. I also was thinking about weathering the fence, but I was like, it looks okay enough to me. Back to my favorite faux glitter, nature. We're gonna slap some of that onto these unsightly seams to cover up my mistakes, so that way no one knows that they were ever there to begin with. We're also gonna have some going up on the front. I kind of wish I had like raised the fence a little bit and put the bushes. I'm gonna add some bushes in a second. You'll see what I'm talking about. But added the bushes in tall ways instead of long ways. So that way, if the fence was taller, I could have given her a little gate, and it might have felt more like a house, and like you were walking through a big gate onto her property. But I digress. And now that we've waited, we're gonna roll up her door, because it's time for like a little bit of privacy. She needs her time to herself. But what I originally was going to do was just like roll this up, flatten it out, let it harden a little bit, and then just put it in. But then I realized it was going to keep unrolling, and I was like, oh, I don't want that. So I would put a little bit of hot glue on the inside of it. first I wanted to re-roll it because it came undone and I didn't like that roll, and I wanted to make sure it looked nice, and then I measured where I wanted it to go and slap that hot glue right on there, and then I'm going to put it on the back side and put it down. So essentially it's like a rolling door, or like a cloth door that rolls up or something. I don't know, it's magic. We're going with it, guys. It's magic. Don't question it. It's magic. And up next, we gotta put some more pumpkins in the yard. How are these pumpkins growing if she's not manicuring her yard? Magic. It's all magic all the time. So now onto this other frame. We're not going to talk about the fact that I was practicing my Japanese counting at the top there. We're just going to repaint this entire frame black. And while that dries, we're going to use this little piece of plastic as the window. Now, in my mind, this worked differently. In my mind, this was going to have more of a stained glass effect, but I've said it time and time again, I have no patience when it comes to painting, so it ends up just kind of looking like a hot mess. I'm not a huge fan of it, but thankfully it's in the back, so it's got the least attention on it. This is my Bob Ross homage of, happy little accidents. And honestly, I think Bob Ross would like this. I would hope he would like this. I went through a phase in college where I just watched Bob Ross before I went to sleep because he was so soothing that it just warmed my heart to listen to him before I fell asleep. But then I discovered ASMR, so it, kind of, the ASMR changed essentially. But I thought about him while I was doing this because whenever he would paint a tree in a project, he would be like, "Oh, this is your bravery test," because you can't get rid of it. Now, mind you, I could kind of cheat it and get rid of it a little bit, but the sentiment's still there. That's where it's going to be. That's the bravery test. That's where the tree is going. I also wish I had painted maybe one bigger tree and then that was closer and then some smaller trees. But like I said, I was winging it and I was having a lot of fun winging it. Now I know what you're thinking. Bailey, didn't you just use this? No, I didn't. It's the same fabric, but different. So we're just gonna essentially glue them together and glue them on the back of the frame. So essentially it will work as a shield. You can kind of see through is what I'm trying to say. And I wanted to make sure that you couldn't see that it wasn't essentially dried paint all the way, and I didn't want to paint on the back of it because I was worried about the effect that would cause. So I was like, I'll just put some of this fabric on the back of it and move on. And since it fits the frame barely, I'm going to go ahead and cut off this excess, toss it to the side. I'm sure it's somewhere in my craft pits somewhere. I need to go through those soon. And then we're going to glue this on the back using as much hot glue as the good Lord will allow. And then we're going to glue it to the actual base, and this is when I regret that the base wasn't even. I thought I could get away with it, but alas, I could not. And so I have to go back and glue up the seams of this project. But then, once these final seams are glued and held in place, it's done! I know I've been really hard on myself throughout this project, just like in this video talking about it, but that's just because as an artist you always see the mistakes. But I did enjoy this, and it was something that I spent a lot of time on, and I hope I can make more of these little doodads in the future. If you have any ideas for future projects for me, either cosplay or craft related, please just hit me up. Leave a comment down below. Also like and subscribe if you want to see more. I love hanging out with you guys. But yeah, keep me updated on your lives. I love you all. And I'll see you in the next one. And if you've made it to the end screen, comment your favorite food down below so I know that you've made it. I must know the secrets you hold. Okay, but seriously, goodbye guys. Thanks for watching.